video on a little bit of maintenance. We'll just have a quick look on changing some strings on a guitar. From time to time we're going to need to change our strings when they get old, a bit dirty and grubby, and also you know, they start to sound dull. So it's a good idea to change them from time to time. Professional guitarists, that are touring musicians, they would change their strings after every show, just to give you an idea of the frequency in which some people will go to. So there's going to be a few things you will need: a new set of strings, some clippers for nipping the ends of the new strings off, because we don't use the whole string. This winder is a really useful little tool. It helps speed up the process of changing the strings. You can do it without a winder, it's not essential, but I got one of these years ago and it just means the whole process is a lot quicker. A tuner, a cable for your tuner. This again isn't essential. It's a lubricant which we put underneath the string at the nuts, and you can also do it at the bridge end as well. This is by a company called D'Addario. Friction remover. You can also use pencil graphite, so you could just shave a bit of the pencil lead, as we would call it, or pencil graphite, into the nut slots before you put your strings on, and that will give you some lubrication in there to help the strings move smoothly through the nuts. Okay, first job, take the old strings off. So I'm going to use my little string winder to aid with this. Okay, so something else you can do once you've taken the slack off the strings, if you're not bothered about keeping the old strings, you can just go through them with your little cutters. Well, that one's still a bit tight. And there we have it. So on this particular guitar, the tailpiece, or the stop bar as it's often referred to, will come off. So if you've got a Les Paul style guitar, just be aware that that will drop off. The actual bridge itself is now something that will come away as well. So obviously if you move the guitar or tip it up, that will drop off as well. And so now we just get the rest of the strings off the tuning pegs. We just unwind those. Come out. Okay, I'll get the rest of those off and then we'll look at getting the new strings. Okay, so all the strings are off now. While you've got the strings off, it's a really good opportunity to give your guitar a bit of a clean, get into these hard to access areas which are under the strings normally, give them a dust. Same on the headstock here, give that a bit of a polish up. But most importantly, even if you don't do any of that, it's an opportunity to give the wood of the fretboard a bit of a condition, and we use a product like this. This is Gibson branded, but it doesn't have to be. It's basically lemon oil. You can't drink it. Don't try and drink it. It wouldn't be very good for you. But what it is really good for is putting some moisture back into the wood of your guitar in the right way. We don't want water on there, but lemon oil will do the job. So let's just give that a go. So I just get an old cloth and then put a liberal amount on there and rub it into the wood. As you can see, that shines that up real nice. But that will soak in. Sort of work it in a little bit, and you'll see you'll be able to wipe off the excess in a little while. Now with the light on the guitar neck now I've wiped that up, I can see little indents in the wood there where it's been played over the years, and also little sort of indents in the frets. So that's showing some wear. Over time, those frets will want replacing, which is actually quite a job on a guitar like this, because we've got what we call a bound neck. So the binding, this kind of nice detailing that goes around the edge of the guitar, carries on down the side of the neck, so, and all the edges of the frets are closed in with that binding over the ends. So that would be a job for a professional luthier to do. That wouldn't be something I'd attempt. Basic maintenance I'm more than happy to have a go at, but replacing frets is a bit above my pay grade. Right, so let's move on to putting some strings on. New packet. What I'll do is I'll bring the camera in close to show you a little technique I use for for winding the strings on to get them started. So let's start off low E string, up through the tailpiece, over the bridge, down to the nut. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see from there what I'm about to do. So I've got my low E string through the bridge, through the tailpiece, sorry, over the bridge, down to the nut. And now I need to know how much to put on, to wind onto the tuning peg. So firstly, I'm going to get the tuning peg so the hole is facing straight down towards the neck. So I'm going to put my string straight in there. Pull it tight over the nut, and then I use 3 fingers. Now obviously this will vary depending on the size of your hand. Well, I put 3 fingers against the tuning peg, okay, and then pinch off where my fingers end on the string and put a little kink in it. So now thread my string into the tuning peg until the kink appears just past the tuning peg there. Can you see that? And then what I do is I take the string, and it's all falling off. This is the trouble with these stock tail types, that until you get a string on there holding it, it just keeps falling off. So you take the string, go from the outside, wrap it round the peg, but over the top of the bit of string you've got poking through. Okay, so that's the first step. Now we're going to hold on to that for a sec while we get our winder. This is where it comes in handy, because it will speed the process up so you're not stood here for ages trying to hold this string tight. And I use my thumb to hold the string down low, so we want the string to wind up from the bottom of the tuning peg, and then what will happen is, because you've wound it over the top of the first part and then wound it up from the bottom, it will nip this piece that's coming out between those two lots of wraps. And hopefully, because we've measured it with our fingers like that, we won't have too many wraps on there, because you don't want too little, because the string can just slip out of the tuning peg. But if you have too many on there, it can affect the tuning stability, because it's got all these loose wraps, essentially, or potentially loose wraps underneath. And there we are. I'm not going to tune it just yet. I'm going to get all the strings on and then we'll tune it up. So I tend to then nip this off. I don't go right tight up to the tuning peg. I leave it a little bit. Just bear in mind, with the thinner strings, the G, the B and the E, they're going to leave very sharp ends. You know, they do draw blood if you catch your fingers on them once you've nipped them. So yeah, just 3 or 4 mil showing, and then I use the end of the nippers just to bend that down out of the way. So let me just show you that again with the next string. So we're on the A string. These are all numbered on the packet, so if you depend on what gauge of strings. So these are Ernie Ball power slinkies, and they go from 11 for the first high E string to 48, so they're a relatively heavy gauge. So you know, when you open the packet, the number 48 is the thickest string, so that's your E string, and then they go down in order from there. I mean, it doesn't matter which way you start round, which way around you start them. You can start with the high E, the low E, whichever. You can even put the high E and the low E on first, so that, especially if you've got this sort of guitar, so it holds the top stop bar in place, tailpiece. So again, strings through the tailpiece, over the bridge, over the nut, down to the tuning peg. 3 fingers, and then so I'm just using these 3. So if you've ever been in the Scouts, 3 fingers like that. Pinch that off where my fingers end. Give it a little kink. I've just lined my tuning peg up. These are actually quite tight. I might need to slacken those off a little bit. All sorts of things that you can keep an eye on with general maintenance. Bring that through so that the kink is just coming through the tuner. Go from the outside, wrap it over the top. So that's now over the top of the extra string that's poking out. Then again, hold it tight, get your winder if you've got one, and I tend to bend this excess upwards so that it's not getting stuck on everything around it as you wind on, and then hold my thumb, or hold the string down with my thumb so that it starts low, and then just let it wind up the tuning peg to create a nice tight wrap. Of course, making sure that it's on at the bridge at the other end so it's not slipped off the saddles. And there we are. Nice tight wrap, not too many wraps on there. Something that I haven't done, which I was going to show you, was the nut lubrication stuff. So quickly, now normally you would do this before you start putting your strings on. So this comes with a little syringe with the lubricant in there. It's quite a thick little paste, and just put a bit in each nut slot, like so. So that's all 6 strings on. Well, as I move the camera back up, and we'll just go through the little sort of tune-up routine, because it isn't just you don't want to just tune it up and leave it at that, because being new strings, they will stretch and go out of tune. So I'll show you a little technique I use to get these to settle down and stay in tune a bit more. Okay, so we've got all the strings on. So now we need to tune up, and then we need to sort of get these strings to a point where they'll stay in tune. Because if you've ever changed your strings yourself before, you might find that you tune it up, 2 minutes later they've gone out of tune again. So plugged into a tuner, guitar's turned up, so I'm going to just tune everything up to start with. So anyway, like I said, we've got the strings on, they're tuned up to pitch, but as soon as you start playing, that's going to go out of pitch. So what you need to do, and this seems a bit barbaric, but you just get the string, get hold of each string, and give it get a bit of a stretch, like so, and then tune it back up. Okay, with the camera at a slightly better angle, you'll be able to see exactly what it is. So I'm getting hold of the thickest string to start with, the low E. I'm just giving that a little stretch, not too much. Obviously you don't want to try and snap the string off or damage the guitar in any way, but we're just, you know, allowing that string to seat. I don't know if you can quite see that, but that's now gone low on the tune, and I'll bring it back up to tune, and I'll just do it again. What I'll aim to do is go over this process a few times until it stops going out of tune. And that's pretty much there already, look. So see the A string? So it's in tune. If I give that a stretch, sometimes you might find they don't need very much. So I'm literally bracing my thumb against the neck and pulling the string up a bit. Now on the thicker strings you can be relatively aggressive with it. With the thinner strings again you want to, so again that's showing G sharp now, so we want to go up to A. We'll do that again. last one. Get him in tune first. Little stretch. And again, this will get your strings staying in tune for the most, 99% of the time. And as you play the guitar, it will settle down anyway. And that's pretty much there. So there we go. That's putting new strings on your guitar. Like I say, this guitar needs a bit more work. Yeah, it's a little project. Like I say, it's quite old now. It was made in 2004. I bought it in 2009. Had that setup done probably around about 2013, 2012. And so yeah, it needs a little bit of TLC to bring it back up to perfect condition again. But it's a real nice guitar. It's heavy. It's a real heavy piece of wood. This, which can benefit the sound and the tone that you get from it. But anyway, any questions? Anybody need any help with doing these kind of basic maintenance type jobs? Feel free to get in touch. When things go back to normal, hopefully that won't be too long. If you need new strings popping on your guitar, I'm more than happy to put new strings on for you. It's not a problem. Okay, hope to see you soon.